Welcome back to the Talk Yours podcast. In today's episode, we'll be talking about the Ime Udoka situation and the Robert Williams injury and everything going on with the Celtics. We'll be talking about, the JJ Redick and Ben Simmons podcast, how Austin Rivers has responded to Doc Rivers, Ben Simmons' whole controversy. We'll be talking about, our reactions to week 2 of the NFL season, and we'll also be talking about some over-under picks for the NBA season. Let's go ahead and get on with the Celtics discussion. So, Cam, what do you think?
I don't want to come out and say anything and make any assumptions right now in terms of what the actual situation is. There's a lot of gray area, and the organization hasn't come out and said a lot about, what actually went down. All that we know is that what's been reported is that Ime Udoka, if you haven't heard, had a consensual relationship with another member of the Celtics organization, and obviously he is engaged to Nia Long. Yeah. Right, which is a whole nother
fumble.
I mean, yeah, you want to talk about it, but the Celtics organization has decided to suspend Ime Udoka for the entirety of the 2022-2023 NBA season. I think that includes playoffs too. I don't think he'd be allowed to coach in the playoffs. I think it's the whole season. Where his career goes from here, it will be interesting to see. But just looking at it from a basketball perspective, I mean, I'm interested to hear what you guys think for what this means for the Celtics going forward.
I feel like that's a part of their team that has been lost. I mean, of course, I kind of have a little sense in my brain that maybe this situation, even though it says organization and you'd assume it's staff members, this could also have to do with the players. It could be a player's wife or something. That's never out of the discussion. But just from a basketball perspective, I mean, this new assistant coach, I don't really know anything about him. Do you remember his name? I can look it up.
I don't. I'll actually look it up right now.
But at the same time, I didn't really know too much about Ime Udoka besides the fact that I'm pretty sure he was under Greg Popovich for some time. If I could be wrong about that, but and I didn't really know too much about him, and he kind of took over the Celtics organization with Brad Stevens being the GM, and just made that finals run that no one expected, at least going into the season. So honestly, I don't want to say that I'm worrying as a Celtics fan, but at the same time, I mean, if you do get Ime Udoka next season, I wouldn't be too worried.
Yeah. Okay. Personally, I feel like Ime Udoka has built a culture in Boston where it's like they play a certain type of basketball. When Brad Stevens was there, they didn't play that type of basketball. He built that culture where it was like we're gonna play defense. Everybody's gonna play defense. It's just he kind of revamped the whole team. So I feel like personally, if they're able to, I don't think they're gonna be able to losing a coach like that. It's obviously gonna be difficult, but I think they're still the Celtics. They're still gonna make the playoffs, even though I do not like them. I got to give them their props. They're a good team. They should still be able to pull it through.
Too much talent on that
team. Too much talent for them not to be good.
The team's too well built regardless of the coaching scheme or whatever's in place. I mean, it's just...
The situation's bad, bro. There's obviously something that they're not telling the media, and it's probably for a good reason because they don't want to, if it is, I don't know, from what we're hearing from, people like Matt Barnes and Richard Jefferson is, there's more to the situation, but I feel like the reason they're not letting that out.
Well, you want to make sure before you release information, you want to get all the facts. You want to make sure everything's straight, and you don't want to go out and ruin someone's life with false information.
For sure.
But
and if the situation is too bad, maybe some people don't even want it to be leaked.
Yeah.
No,
that's really
that's fair. But I don't know.
To warrant a year suspension, it's got to be something. A year.
All I thought is that it violated the organization's code of conduct, but they didn't say in what way. I don't know if it was because he'd never disclosed the relationship.
I will say, if it is just what we're hearing, where it's a consensual relationship with another person, I do think that's a little extreme. In terms of, suspending someone for a whole season for a consensual relationship. So what we're hearing, that is a bit extreme.
The thing is, I think in organizations like that, you have to disclose a relationship with a coworker because it creates a conflict of interest, right? As the head coach.
But a year?
I don't know. It depends on what the organization's policy is.
I just think there's something.
You'd have to go through their entire policy on code of conduct. But anyway, so the current head coach for the Celtics now is Joe Mazzulla, 34-year-old assistant, joined the Celtics in 2019. Formerly a basketball player at, hold on, I lost it, West Virginia. Went undrafted in the 2011 NBA draft. He's had some coaching
He's
experience.
young.
He's had his first head coaching experience was in 2017 at Fairmont State University.
Bro, LeBron's older than him.
I know. LeBron is 3 years older than him.
How old is Al Horford?
Al Horford's
Might be
old
just
enough.
as old.
Al Horford's old enough.
There's a number of players that are older than him. Are there? I mean, like, so that creates another issue. How do you?
He's not. He doesn't have.
garner
Yeah, Al
respect
Horford's older
in
than
that
him.
locker room
'Cause
as,
he's
as
definitely,
someone
yeah,
with
not the
less
same coach.
experience. You know,
I will say before this all happened, I had the Celtics easily as the number 1 seed in the league, or definitely the East for sure. And now it's a bit questionable. I'm not gonna say whether I have them or not. That's for a different episode. So stay tuned in. But I just man,
They
he had
also-
such a good scheme, and it's just
Yeah.
it's all gone now.
They also lose Rob Will for the first 2 months, which is gonna. That is a big hit for that team.
it's a big. Now keep in mind they didn't have Robert Williams for a significant part of their season this year.
But when he was in the team, it was
When
like
they were significantly better when he
who's
played.
their other center?
Their other center,
Are they going to play?
Al
Are they going to play?
Horford.
Are they
It's
going to
Al
play
Horford.
Horford at the 5?
I guess. I mean, do they still have Tice or did
No,
they
Tice
trade
went
him?
to Indiana. I think.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so he's not there anymore. So it's got to be Horford.
It's got to be Horford. You
Yeah.
slide JB, not J. Yeah, you slide JB to the 3, put Tatum at the 4, and then you maybe play Brogdon at the 1 and Smart at the 2.
I mean, we'll get back to Robert Williams in a second, but speaking of Jaylen Brown, I think that's something that not a lot of people are looking at is as the Celtics organization, you know, it was reported that they were going to trade him for Kevin Durant.
yeah.
They'd put that offer on the table. And then, you know, how it's already hard enough keeping that locker room together when your second best player is possibly disgruntled.
He has said he wants to be in Boston as well. Like even after those
Yeah.
trade rumors, he said he wants to be in Boston the rest of his career.
I mean, I guess NBA teams don't like keeping players that say they want to stay there.
It's kinda
Shout out
weird.
That is
Kings,
kind of wild, bro.
but, like,
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be too worried as a Celtics fan though, because there's plenty of good centers in free agency if they have a roster spot
You guys
available.
can go get White.
There's Dwight Howard. Hassan Whiteside actually he's been
He's
playing
not
good.
good.
For a backup center. He's good.
Good.
For a backup center that's getting the minimum. Are you kidding me?
He's better than DeAndre Jordan, but like no, he's not good.
Everyone's better than DeAndre Jordan. We get that.
if
But like,
all the Celtics need is someone to come in and play a little bit of defense and grab some boards. You don't need them to do anything else.
especially next to Gallinari. Who's hurt?
Whiteside on the Jazz this year,
He was terrible.
he was terrible. But like, I went to that Warriors game.
No, like I'm
and
saying,
he-
as a backup,
he,
yeah,
like,
yeah. But when Gobert
he
went down and
honestly
he had to
can
play,
do
when he had to play like 25 plus minutes, he was the worst basketball player I've seen in a while.
Right, but when you're not having him as your starting center and he's like coming in for 10 or 15
Yeah, that's
minutes,
perfectly fine.
it can work.
But
And
he's
you
not
don't-
replacing
you don't-
Robert Williams.
No, but
No
you
one
don't.
said that,
So,
though. You don't
the
have
thing
to.
about it is Robert Williams. You just need to survive the first couple weeks of the season. And let's remember the Celtics were bad the first part of the
That's
season.
true.
You know, and then they went on that run at the end of the season. So obviously you can recover from a semi decent start. I
Yeah.
just you're not going to replicate what Robert Williams does for you, but I think you still have Tatum, you still have Brown, you still have Brogdon, you still have Smart, you still have all these.
No, they can go
other
get Dwight.
pieces.
They can get Dwight. I don't think
They can
Dwight would
get
go. I don't
Dwight.
think Dwight would go to the Celtics though.
Why?
I just don't think he would morally do it.
What do you mean morally do it?
Like he's trying to be a wrestler right now. Do you not?
I've seen that.
He's trying to get in the WWE. Like I don't think he's.
Is
One,
he actually trying? I just saw him on like there.
I don't know. I
Is
think
he actually
I think
trying
he's
to be a
trying
wrestler?
do all
I'm-
this shit, but-
I mean, I guess, but I don't know. I think it's really important that the Celtics have at least a decent start because they're never going to replicate what they just did last year in the last 2 seasons.
I feel like a
of
team
the
does it
league.
every year. They have a bad start and they turn up. The Hawks did it.
Mm-hmm.
The Celtics did it. Why can't they do it again?
Yeah.
I mean, what team has done it twice in a row? Where they started
But
bad.
here's the
I'm not
thing,
saying
like-
they could start good and then end good, but they can't start bad and do that all again because the Celtics caught everyone by surprise last season. You know what
How
I mean?
much are you going to catch someone by surprise though when you have Jason Tatum? People know who Jason Tatum is. You got Jaylen Brown. People know who that is. Like, sure, they caught people by surprise because they improved significantly on defense in the last half of the season.
When
But-
you're game planning against teams last season and you're at the February mark, you are not spending a majority of your time on the Boston Celtics because they were below 500. They were in the play.
I mean, you're still game planning for Jason Tatum though, and guys like that, and other guys stepped up. You know, you had contributions from other guys, but like,
But I feel like the league they didn't care to game plan around Grant Williams or what's that guy, Peyton Pritchard, Derek White. But now they have legit pieces like Malcolm Brogdon where it's like, okay,
Yeah.
now on paper this team is good. Last year they were good on paper, but they were also good just as a unit. The coaching was amazing. They just overall played harder than a lot of different teams. But now because of when teams have heart, they kind of get slept on a little bit. But if you actually have a good roster on paper now, and Marcus Smart's now a actual defensive player of the year, which I don't think he deserved it, but still, I mean, you have to look into that. He's a defensive player of the year. They're the number 1 team that people have to beat now,
right
in my opinion.
in the East.
Yeah, in the East, the West. I just mean the regular season. You need to beat them. That just I think that means something personally.
I mean, it puts that target on your back. It means teams are going to be coming after you. You know, they're really going to be focusing on you. I don't see with the amount of talent that team has that they would be even a play-in team. I still think they're a top 6 seed in the East. There's too much.
I think definitely. They're definitely
there's
top
no
six.
like. You know,
I think after a run like they just had, you have to make it again. In my opinion.
do you have to make it again, or do you just have to?
Pressure forms diamonds. Isn't that what they say?
That's what they something. But like,
pressure's on. You don't got your coach. Let's see how y'all play.
And I'm gonna be honest. I was going into the playoffs. I had the Celtics making the finals, and it happened. But I was still disappointed in them, and I expect them to bounce back next year, just for the sole reason of really impressive what they did to the Brooklyn Nets, swept them. I did not expect that.
no.
But going to 7 with the Bucks without Middleton, in my opinion, because I feel like every single game they had was a winnable game.
I think the Bucks are still
100%.
the team to beat in the East.
Maybe.
I think the Bucks are still the favorite to come out the East.
There's
Definitely.
no game planning for Giannis.
You can't game plan for Giannis.
He's still.
You have Giannis, you have Middleton. If Drew plays decent, and then you just need one guy to step up.
Yeah.
That's it.
Giannis is still the best player in the East. So
In the East,
yeah. I mean,
I'll give you that. All right. Let's get to some over-unders, I guess.
All right.
First one we'll do is the Hawks, Corby's own Hawks. Their projected win total for this season is 45.5. So are we going over that or under that?
So I actually did an over-under for every single team. Like, it was like 3 weeks ago. I think I had them at 47 wins, so I'm going to go over. Actually, just today, I was just so bored. I started counting games that we can win and lose throughout the season.
That's crazy.
And I had it really high, so I'm not going to say I had it at 53. But, like, we're not going to win 53. We're not, obviously not. But when you just go by, okay, we could win this home game, we're going to lose this away game. When you just go by that,
Right.
we're going to beat this tanky team, we're going to lose this tank, or we're not going to lose any tanky team. We probably will. But I just think that overall, this Hawks roster is just so much of a better unit. I mean, you're talking about now, Nate McMillan has not necessarily been known as a good playoff coach. And for a lot of reasons look at the rosters that he's had to coach. The Indiana Pacers with DeMontis Sabonis on the roster. Just overall, not a good fit because Nate McMillan is a defensive-minded coach. Now he's, coaching the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks, Trae Young is obviously not a defensive-minded player. But now, when you talk about every single other player now who's getting minutes, is actually a decent defender outside of maybe, John Collins and Bogdan. Outside of those two and Trae Young, every other player is now a defensive-minded player. DeJounte Murray, AJ Griffin's supposed to be good defensively. Clint Capella, Onyeka Okongwu. I guess maybe Jalen Johnson also isn't a good defender. But overall, this just roster, maybe on paper it's not better talent, but it fits more in general. Now, DeJounte Murray, I was listening to the press conferences, and he was saying he's going to push every single Atlanta Hawk to be better on defense. That kind of leadership. I see DeJounte Murray as a leader, and he's going to help this team out. 47 wins. I don't think they'll be a play-in team. A lot of people do, but I think 47 wins will get you right outside that play-in team.
One of those big teams in the East has to be a playing team.
That's fine.
Like one of those teams got to be it. Not every team can just make the playoffs.
Well, there was one playoff team this offseason that didn't improve. In fact, got worse. So if there's any team I'm picking to be in the play-in, you know who I'm talking about.
All right, what do you think, Cam? 45.5. That's a high mark.
it's a high mark. So the thing is,
47 wins.
outside of
46.
so outside of DeJounte Murray, how much did the Hawks really improve? Like, I'm not saying DeJounte Murray is a poor improvement by any means, but
They got
he's
AJ,
a
they got AJ
significant player
Griffin.
to have.
They got AJ
We
Griffin.
got AJ Griffin.
so
We have a second year of Jalen Johnson who didn't get minutes just because Nate McMillan has some prejudice against rookies. So I actually don't think AJ Griffin will get very many minutes, but Jalen Johnson is pretty much like a John Collins clone. Not as good, but just like same play style. Exact same play style, if you watch
I
him.
don't know about all that.
I mean, he's just, pick and roll man, dunker, not the best on defense or whatever. But listen, the Atlanta Hawks, I just lost my train of thought. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Cam. What were you saying?
So kind of what I'm saying. I agree with you about Nate McMillan. In that, he's definitely better when he has defensive players to coach. Like the year that the Pacers were the best, when he was the head coach, was when Oladipo was really, playing well, and he was the centerpiece of that team.
Turner was more healthy for sure. Yeah,
Turner was more healthy. That was a team that took LeBron to 7, and that's something to say.
Everyone
considering
took
that,
LeBron to 7, right?
huh?
Everybody
Not
took
the Raptors. The number 1 team in the East didn't. I mean, it's something to look at. But so I'm looking at the Hawks record last year, 43-39.
Did
Obviously,
they improve by 3 wins?
I think they did. I think DeJounte improves them by 3 wins at least.
Okay.
So I'm saying over on that.
I think
47 is a safe.
I think it's gonna go over also, but I think they could easily spall at like 43.
easily.
Okay. And then also, I just remembered again. So you said, how did the Atlanta Hawks get better besides DeJounte Murray? Maybe the actual roster didn't improve, but in the 2021 offseason, DeAndre Hunter and Onyeka Okongwu were both hurt and actually couldn't work on their game throughout the offseason. Now they have a healthy offseason. Okongwu has been taking 3-pointers in scrimmages and in these...
Okay, but everyone takes
Everyone
3-pointers
does
in scrimmages.
But
Well, you
David
gotta
Dillon
see it
today
in
in the
the
press said that Okongwu should be taking mid-ranges, not 3-pointers yet, because, he needs to gain that confidence, but he should be taking mid-ranges,
Right.
and he should have the ball in his hands more. I just think, overall, the confidence... Also, Trae Young and Nate McMillan have been, over the offseason, just hanging out together more, which I think is just a good chemistry builder. I just think, overall, the chemistry is a lot better now, because last year we didn't improve our roster at all. I don't even remember who we added last year besides DeLon Wright. I actually don't think we added anyone else. So, overall, now we're getting our chemistry up. So,
Okay.
who's the next team?
Brooklyn Nets over 50.5 or under 50.5.
Okay.
And to me, this is pretty easy. I feel like that's long. Okay, I'm gonna go over.
What?
I'm gonna go over because I do think even though they had all this fucking stupid shit going on in the fucking off season, they're professionals, bro. I think you got a motivated Kyrie, a motivated Ben Simmons, and a motivated KD. That's all you need to win 50 games, I think.
Okay,
They get
so
Joe
the-
Harris back. And that I feel like it's a good team, bro.
On paper, as a roster, as a complete roster, that team should be a lock to win at least 51 games.
Yeah, that's what I'm going
If
with.
they
I'm
should
like-
but here's where my
You do
issue
have
is.
yeah.
Kevin Durant has missed time the last few years. Kyrie Irving is a lock to miss time at this point. He's, for whether it's injury, whether it's personal reasons, I'm not going to judge him for missing time, but at this point it just comes with the territory of having Kyrie Irving on your team, that he's going to miss time. You're not going to have him for a number of games. Ben Simmons' health is a huge factor here. If Ben Simmons can stay healthy and Kevin Durant can stay healthy, I still think they win more than 50.5 games. I think just having Kevin Durant and Ben Simmons is enough to get you over.
They almost had it.
I think it's enough to get you through those games without Kyrie. If you don't have Kevin Durant and you don't have Kyrie Irving, or you don't have two of those three guys, then there's going to be an issue. Then I could see them really falling into play-in territory and fighting even for a playoff spot at some point. Because, I mean, I guess I don't see them falling below Charlotte. I don't see them falling below the Knicks.
I think
Washington is the only team I could see jumping up potentially.
At minimum, they're a playing team.
At minimum, they should be a play-in team, but 50
think
wins
that-
is a lot.
50
You have to
wins is
remember,
not a
It's
play-in
a lot. It's a lot. I'm saying at minimum, if all goes to shit.
I mean, you want to look at the NBA this year. There was a few 50-win teams for sure, but 50 wins puts you right at the top of each conference.
It's just that I just think if all three of those guys are on the court together, it's hard to beat that.
But you have to keep them on the court.
I'm banking on
And
them.
that's
why I'm taking the over.
Each of them has had issues staying on the court in the last 2-3 years.
I'm going to take the under because I'm not banking on them being healthy. I just can't. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving each and every season have missed like over 20 games, especially if you include playoffs. Overall, the coaching is awful. When you talk about coaching, it might be bottom 3 in the East for sure, especially in those play-in and playoff teams. Just bad coaching. I mean, they lost Bruce Brown, who you could say he wasn't that good, but he definitely had heart in him, and they replaced him with
They added T.J. Warren. They added Royce O'Neal. Those are solid pickups.
I mean, Royce O'Neal's
They're
decent.
solid pickups.
T.J. Warren was hurt last season,
They have a squad.
but
They have a
T.J.
squad.
Warren wasn't playing
Isn't
good
Seth
before
Curry
that.
on the team?
He should be on the team. Yeah.
Dog. Kyrie
Something
cannot.
happened to him.
Listen to this, bro. This roster's loaded. Kyrie, Seth Curry, Joe Harris. Those are shooters.
Right.
Those are shooters. I don't give a fuck. Those are shooters, right? You got shooters. You got T.J. Warren. We know he's a buck. He hasn't played in a while, so I don't know how the fuck he's gonna play. But we know what he can do. Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. I think that Ben Simmons, top 3 defender in the league.
No. Hold on. So listen to you read off this roster, right?
Yes.
Royce O'Neal and Ben Simmons are the only 2 defenders on that whole roster.
That is, yeah, I guess that
And
is.
Kevin Durant's
So-
mid at defense.
He's definitely taken a step back since the Achilles injury.
Definitely, yeah.
And Kyrie is just not.
Cam, I get what you're
just,
saying.
like,
The defense is obviously a factor, but I feel like defense is more of a factor in the playoffs.
In the
terms of
playoffs,
regular
right.
season and winning games, I think they can win 51 games just based off their offense alone. We saw the Rockets do it.
I mean, we'll talk. We'll get to a little bit more Ben Simmons stuff later, but I don't think it would be too crazy to say that come playoff time, it's almost more important that Ben Simmons stays healthy
Perhaps.
than Kyrie Irving.
Perhaps. Ben Simmons is literally the most. I'd argue besides KD, he's probably the most important player because that defense is.
I would say
horrid.
so because
That-
Kyrie
yeah,
and
yeah,
KD.
yes.
I mean, having Kyrie there and having them both almost becomes a luxury at some point because you have these two 30-point scorers that can go off at any time. You know, if one of them doesn't go off, hopefully the other one goes off. It's an insurance policy, right? But you don't necessarily need that to win games. You know, but you need that. You need a guy that can defend the other players or the other team's best player, and that's Ben Simmons, right? You don't have that guy. We saw what happened in the Boston series. You know,
I'm just gonna be honest. When you go down each and every single play-in team and playoff team for the East, outside of the Washington Wizards, the Nets have the worst defense. But it's also crazy to say
Chicago?
they might not have the best offense.
Chicago.
Chicago.
But at least Chicago,
Lonzo
while their
and
interior
Lonzo
defense is
and
bad,
Pat Will?
their perimeter defense.
Who's
is
there on the
pretty-
perimeter? Pat Will and Lonzo.
Caruso,
Oh, yeah,
Ayo,
I'm hating.
Ayo.
I'm hating.
They have so many.
Isn't Dumboya a decent defender?
Yeah, just Ayo. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ayo
No, he's a real.
Yeah,
dude,
they got
he
perimeter
clamped up
defense.
Trey that one
Yeah.
game.
No,
You
they
saw
got
it, bro.
perimeter
That was
defense. Yeah, that's
that was
facts.
insane. I think overall, just they're loaded on the perimeter. So even though Vucevic is that bad, they have Drummond's not the worst rim protector. He's not good.
Again,
He's not the worst.
they have to stay healthy though.
They gotta
Because
stay
the
healthy.
problem was, as soon as Lonzo got hurt,
They were
bottomed out.
I didn't
Just
even,
bottomed
I didn't
out.
even say.
Well, the thing is, when Lonzo got hurt, Caruso got hurt too. So it was like
Yeah.
that was on top.
It was both of them. But if you look at like the difference between, so who got hurt first? Was it Lonzo?
Lonzo did, and then I
Lonzo
think
got hurt
Caruso
first.
had the
So
hand
they
injury.
dropped significantly when Lonzo got hurt, and then they dropped again when Caruso got hurt, but it wasn't as significantly. But both of those
Lonzo,
guys
bro.
are very important to creating pressure on the opposing team's backcourt.
I also expect Zach LaVine to be a better defender now that he's going to be healthy. Patrick Williams should be taking a jump defensively. I just think overall, Derrick Jones Jr. is a good defender off the bench.
And DeRozan really shouldn't be a scrub defensively. He has the tools to be
I
a
mean, he does.
decent defender.
I'm never going to bet on him being good.
But I'm not betting on being good, but being serviceable. You're telling me he can't, at least not be a cone. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, the team has defensive potential. They just don't have any interior defense, so their guards need to stay healthy.
All right. Yeah. All right. Let's do a third team. We'll do this and transition to something else. Charlotte Hornets. They're like one of the only teams that I think haven't done shit in the offseason and got just worse.
Well, I mean, it's not entirely the Hornets' fault.
I mean, you can do something, guess somehow.
Individual players.
Their line is at 36.5. Over or under?
Man, I have this on my phone that I didn't win, but if I were to bet on it, I think I would definitely go under. I think I would. I mean, they're not better than like a lot. They're definitely not making the play in, especially with that kind of
You
record.
lose the borderline all-star, you're gonna get worse.
Yeah. I'm saying under.
Mhm.
I'm not. But let me make this
They
clear.
just
I
got
don't.
worse.
I
They
don't
just got
dislike LaMelo in any way. I think he's a really solid
Love
player,
LaMelo.
but I just don't think that he's right now at this point in his career. He's not at the level of a guy like Ja Morant or anyone in that tier. I just don't see him being someone who's going to elevate that team.
I mean, you can only elevate so much.
Yeah.
To be honest.
I'm going over. Not gonna lie. I'm going.
I mean, I guess I could see it
I'm
going
going
over.
I'm
I would
going
never bet on
I
it.
think Lamelo's gonna have a generational season.
A generation.
Man.
Generational.
A generational season.
Who's he gonna lob the ball to?
Fucking what's the guy?
Ty Jones?
Mark Williams.
Mark Williams.
Mark Williams.
Look,
I think
they're
I just think
That's the only thing they did actually to make their roster better is they added
like
an
Mark
actual.
Williams.
I guess, but they're not exceptionally well coached. They have a.
Well, they got a-
Oh, I was just about to say they have the worst. Oh, dude, their
Didn't
coach.
Borrego get fired?
Oh wait, no, he
Yeah,
wait.
they
Who
got
did
a
they
new
get? Who
guy
did they
who
get?
I don't remember. Fuck.
Oh, then
Yeah,
that's the
Borrego
point.
got fired. That's why I'm like.
You don't even know who he
Yeah,
replaced.
that's true.
Wait, was it Oh, it was Steve Clifford, wasn't it?
I want to say Steve Clifford.
That's a terrible fit.
Clifford. No, it's still the same
the
point.
coach?
Still Steve Clifford. The same point.
He's
Still
a
stands.
defensive-minded coach with literally no good defenders.
The Hornets are
No
winning 30,
good defenders.
The Hornets are winning. The Hornets are winning 37 games. They're at least winning 37 games. They're doing it. They're doing it.
I don't think you realize how many teams there are that are competing for the play-in.
I know, and they're going to be good. Let's do
They're
it.
not even going to be as good as the Knicks or Wizards.
They're doing it. They're doing it.
I guess. Okay. Do we want to transition to
Yeah,
Ben
let's
Simmons
transition.
or?
There's no way they're going over.
When they go over,
There's
when they go over, I want someone here to clip this.
We'll replay
When
the clip
they
at the
go-
beginning of the podcast when they're under. Okay.
They're winning when they hit 37 wins in December.
I better see some champagne popped.
No, I'm literally coming into the podcast with champagne, and I'm gonna be like 37.
I think I am gonna make a Google Doc with every single take we have right now until the season starts. We are. I'm gonna make
37.
it.
They're doing it.
37.
At least 37. That's light work, bro.
It's
Melo's
like
getting
LeBron
paid.
age. You have to get as many wins as LeBron years.
That's crazy.
With the second best ball.
That is legit. No, you're just saying you don't like LaMelo.
You're telling me
You don't-
LeVar isn't better?
Okay.
I was about to say D'Angelo, like he can steal better.
Alright.
Okay. So
LeVar could 1v1 Jordan.
Yeah.
We all know.
okay, just a couple days ago, JJ Redick and Ben Simmons did a podcast together, pretty much talking about every single thing the last couple of years that's happened with Ben Simmons. And Ben Simmons, we can actually talk about a couple things, but one thing that he said was Ben Simmons pretty much requested, Ben Simmons requested Doc Rivers that he kind of doesn't go to practice yet or doesn't really play in any of the runs because he's not ready to play. And Doc Rivers kind of ignored him and 1 minute into the practice put him in a run, and Ben Simmons kind of claimed that the team and Doc Rivers are both, targeting him, kind of making fun of him and stuff. So Ben Simmons, he kind of, I don't know exactly what he did, but yeah, Doc Rivers kicked him out. And on Instagram, Austin Rivers defended Doc Rivers saying that Ben Simmons doesn't know what he's talking about or that he's lying and how are people believing him. It's just kind of a weird situation. And honestly, I might see him as a guy who's always attacked Ben Simmons, but only once have I ever attacked his actual character, and that's when he didn't play in game 3 or 4, whatever it was, versus the Celtics. I just think that overall, everyone kind of threw him under the bus. So I'm especially Doc Rivers and Joel Embiid, but more specifically Doc Rivers
Fuck Philadelphia.
threw him under the bus. So why should I give Doc Rivers the benefit of the doubt at all? I mean, right after you lose, for a reporter to ask you, is Ben Simmons a championship type point guard? And for you to say, I don't know, what's the point of that?
Zero faith.
Yeah.
Because if you really look
What
back
kind
in
of
the
coach
series,
does that? Even if you're telling the truth or you're saying your honest opinion, what kind of coach does that? What kind of culture does that create in the
It's
locker room?
Philadelphia,
You don't
bro.
have faith
Fuck
in your own
Philadelphia.
players.
Worst franchise in the NBA, and it's not close.
it's so pathetic, especially because Ben Simmons, for 6 of the 7 games in the series, was guarding the best player on the other side of the court. Now, yes, maybe he didn't play in fourth quarters, and maybe he passed it over to Matisse for a wide open dunk when Ben Simmons had the wide open layup. But I can't give him all the blame. When you talk about, there's just so many other players, allowing Kevin Huerter to drop 27 on you, because, well, let's be clear, Trae Young did not have this phenomenal series, like all worldly. Right. I mean, he shot pretty below average. He shot pretty not that good. He turned the ball over a bunch. It was not all on Ben Simmons, but for some reason, that's just who was targeted. When Joel Embiid, I understand he was hurt, but that's no excuse to put up 4.5 turnovers per game in the playoffs. That's crazy to me. But
yeah, and even going back to that play where he passed it to Matisse, which has obviously become the kind of quintessential Ben Simmons play that everyone looks at when they're like, this really exemplifies what Ben Simmons is as a basketball player. He's not aggressive. He doesn't want to shoot. He's not a winner. All this stuff. I think it really exemplifies how we as sports fans take these singular moments, these microcosms of the greater game as a whole, and we turn it into, we blow it out of proportion and we turn it into something bigger. Because listening to what he actually said, it makes a lot of sense why he made the decision. He turned and he saw a jersey coming at him. He didn't know that it was Trae Young. Because, you're playing at that fast of a pace. You're in the game. You're turning to see a jersey. You're in the paint. You're not expecting Trae Young. You're expecting Clint Capella or someone else in the paint. I don't know who was in the game during that play, but you're expecting a big to come at you. And at that moment, he's giving it up to Matisse Thybulle because he figures, he's going to have a wide open layup. And he did. Gallinari came over and fouled him, right? But he had an open layup. He was, he was open, and fact of the matter is, in retrospect, yeah, he should have dunked it, and he said he should have dunked it. But that's not the reason they lost the series.
I also don't understand why Thybulle doesn't get. I mean, he missed a free throw at the end of the day. That's supposed to be 2 free points, and so the fact that no one talks about that, but everyone talks about the pass is kind of weird to me. He doesn't obviously, and I actually loved how Ben Simmons took accountability in the interview, and he was saying, "Hey, I deserved, or you can ridicule me. I'm not a perfect ball player,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
made a
just-
mistake. I should not have passed the ball. I should have. He said I should have punched that shit.
I know.
Yeah, but it's just I don't know. Just no one was giving anyone else blame. The only person who didn't deserve blame in that series was Seth Curry, balling. I mean, we're talking
Tobias
about
played good.
maybe he played
He
good.
averaged like 20-7.
He actually did play good, but
For
Steph
third-
Curry,
for third
Steph Curry was on a
option,
different
there's
level.
not much
He
else.
dropped. I think he shot 65% from the field and 55% from three, and on 21 points per game.
I guess. I don't know.
What do you get? Whoa!
I guess
You're
you
weird.
can say like you can't blame Seth Curry, but that defense is terrible. So like, it's like okay, he went off on offense, he left it up on defense. That's just how I feel.
I mean, but it wasn't like we were targeting Seth Curry. We're targeting Embiid,
Yeah, that is true. You got it, true.
which he's hurt. But that doesn't excuse the turnovers. Maybe the defense. I'm like, okay, you can't defend when you're hurt. But what else did Ben Simmons kind of say in that? He said one of the
He
things.
said
that
some
interview I
shit
wanted to
about like
talk
Philly fans, where it's like they always have something to say, bro. Like it doesn't matter what you do, they always have something to say, which is true.
Yeah, he actually was pretty respectful though to the Philly fans.
He was.
I
Yeah, man.
appreciated hearing him speak because I feel like he didn't, do the thing that a lot of players do where they just don't take responsibility. And,
Westbrook.
they don't think they're culpable for anything that happened. And he obviously agreed that he made some mistakes.
Yeah.
But I don't know, at the end of the day too, like this kind of relates to
They're
Kyrie
human,
Irving a
bro.
little bit.
They're
They're
human.
human. Like
They're human.
he's openly talked about having mental health struggles, and people just kind of made
Ridiculous.
fun of him for that.
I don't know, bro.
Same with Kyrie Irving.
Being a Ben Simmons fan and like sticking with him through all that shit, and I like people are like, how the fuck do you defend him? I'm like, bro, like I don't understand how like one little mistake like that,
bro, he's not fucking Deshaun
like it's
Watson.
like he didn't
Like,
do anything. He
Jesus.
played bad in a basketball. Then like he did like okay,
And it's because he
That's
plays
crazy.
in Philadelphia.
I'm telling you, it's because he plays in
If
Philadelphia.
he, it's the same reaction. If he was playing in LA, if he was playing in Boston, any of those cities that are like big time cities, they have that.
I
sort of
just never
reaction.
seen, even like let's take Russ for example. He did have a bad season last season. Not once did LeBron throw him under the bus, like ever go like, yeah, Russ. I don't know, he's not good. Like Joel Embiid did with Ben Simmons.
It's just terrible.
Like if your own teammates are doing that shit to you, it's like, bro, who the fuck else do you have by your side? Like it's stupid as fuck.
This just kind of brought something up in my head that I kind of wanted to ask you guys. Kind of going back to the Celtics. It is going back to the Celtics, but just this idea of players as leaders uplifting their teammates. No more Ime Udoka. Jason Tatum has to step up
It's
and
smart.
be a leader.
Smart's that leader. Do you not remember last season?
I
when they were
understand,
playing
but
past
like-
that,
but
and
like,
Marcus Smart was
you're
like, pass
telling
the fucking ball.
You're telling me Jason Tatum, like, I don't know. I just feel like Jason Tatum, you're the best player on the team. People want to put you in that superstar category. Can you show that you can actually be a leader for a
Best
team?
player necessarily doesn't mean a leader.
Yeah. I will also say that Marcus Smart passed me the ball. He was actually just talking to his teammate. You don't do that in a media interview. You don't throw someone under the ball, like especially that. That's just the worst thing you can do. Yeah, I don't know. Being a leader. I mean, it's hard to do in the NBA. There's so many factors into it. Obviously, if you're playing your game and someone else isn't playing their game as well, you're gonna get a little mad. But
There's just certain players that like you can be the best player on the team and you don't have to be a leader. Steph Curry's not a leader. KD's not a leader. You
I
don't
disagree about Steph. I'd say Draymond is the leader on the court, but Steph has definitely created a culture in that locker room.
I get
a lot
it.
of those
I get
younger guys,
it.
I get what
a lot of those younger guys look up to Steph.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
okay, we'll go on to the final.
Do we want to do more over under stuff, or do we want to just
I
kind
can
of
give you a
move
couple
on?
more if you want.
We're at 33 minutes.
All right, let's just move on then.
Okay, yeah.
We
All
can,
right.
we can do that.
So, first 2 weeks of the NFL season have come and gone. A lot has happened, a lot hasn't happened. It's the first 2 weeks. People are going to make predictions that are going to end up being completely incorrect. I just want to talk about, I think we're all just going to kind of throw out a topic or two. Here's what I want to talk about. Tua Tagovailoa,
That's crazy.
over 400 yards and 6 touchdowns. And what was it, a 21-point comeback in the fourth quarter?
Scripted.
That's crazy.
Scripted.
How far can Miami go with Tua under center?
Wild card.
That's it? Wild card? You don't think they even win a playoff game?
Their defense steps up. If Waddle keeps playing like how he's playing, you know what you're gonna get out of Tyreek if Waddle keeps it up. Why not? They could win one game, but are they gonna beat a team like?
I mean, let's
Are they gonna? I don't
look
know.
at the AFC.
I don't know if they're gonna be able to beat another AFC team. I think they could win a wild card game. Maybe it'd be a tough one to win, but
So okay. Here's who you got in the AFC. You got the Chiefs, right? You got the Bills. You got the Ravens, who I still think, you know, that
I think the Ravens literally it was straight like their offense did everything they could have done.
Mhm.
The defense just can't allow what the fuck happened to
Yeah.
happen.
if I'm Lamar Jackson, I'm looking at my defensive coordinator and I'm looking at my defense. I'm going, what the
more?
fuck? What the
more?
fuck do you want me to do?
What
Because
more?
he was on. That might have been one of the best games I've ever seen Lamar play.
Dude, no, he was slinging it, bro.
I mean, he threw the ball well up until the fourth quarter. He did make a couple mistakes. There was one throw I remember where Xavier Howard almost picked it off.
No, he got the ball with 5 minutes left. He got a score.
Yeah,
Defense can't hold up.
he got a field goal.
Defense can't hold
Though,
up.
yeah, I mean,
I'm sorry, you're up 21 going into the fourth.
You gotta-
That's like
you gotta
the fucking
hold it.
Raiders. Your defense can't fucking
no,
hold it.
don't. We'll talk about that in a minute because I want to fucking talk about that. What the fuck is wrong with us? Jesus Christ.
Go up.
No, what the
No.
fuck is actually wrong with us? Every single year I have hope. This year I had a legitimate reason to have hope. We got Devontae Adams, we got Chandler Jones. What are you doing? We brought you here to be a pass rusher. Can you be a pass rusher? You have no sacks. You have no pressures. What are you doing?
I feel like Randy Gregory is just better. Maybe you should have went for him.
I feel like I would rather have Ryan Shazier than fucking Chandler Jones right now. I swear to God.
I wish I knew what that meant.
Oh my god, that is like I've heard you say a lot of crazy ass shit in my life, but pulling out a guy who was paralyzed on an NFL field is absolutely absurd.
Now, obviously, I mostly don't mean that, okay? But
No,
look,
what happened? Like
what
what happened in
happened?
the game?
So
Like,
what happened?
You watched it happen in real time.
listen. Chandler Jones, it's not your fault. I want you to actually get a sack at some point, but it's not your fault. Derek Carr, not even really your fault. You know whose fault it is? Josh fucking McDaniels. What the fuck are you doing with a 20-point lead going into halftime? You want to start being conservative? You want to start throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage? I mean, everything that happened from there. Renfro fumbling the ball, stuff like that happened. 2 times, never fumbles the ball. I mean, I don't know what happened there. I think Isaiah Simmons just
What
got
about
his helmet on the
Marquise
ball. Marquise Brown, that was a hell of a catch.
No, like you guys couldn't stop him.
We couldn't stop him.
Like,
But like that one catch he had, the one-hander, that was a hell of a catch. And then Kyler Murray,
Dude, he literally
never in my life have I seen a midget run that fast. I swear to God, it was the most frustrating. Have you seen the sped up footage too? Like it is literally the most frustrating thing I've ever
literally
seen.
some shit like out of a fucking Looney Tune.
That is some shit out of fucking what the fucking bleacher Gridiron Heights.
Yeah.
That's some shit you would see on Gridiron
Dude,
Heights.
he went this way, and then back this way. Where's the Where's the pressure?
Mateen, what are we doing on defense? Why are you dropping back 9? Why the fuck would you need to drop back 9 in the red zone when you have a mobile quarterback and you rush 2 defensive tackles at him? They're not going to be able to catch him. At some point, he's just going to be able to run around back there and get free. The most frustrating part, though, was Josh McDaniels because they played an excellent first half. They played a really good first half. Devontae Adams wasn't as targeted as much, and that really benefited the offense.
You guys have the best receiver in the league, and you're not using him.
It was working though in the first
I
half.
know.
Like
use him.
Like we had everyone else was doing shit. Ryan Hollins, he was going off. Like he had like 5 catches or something in the first half. And then Josh McDaniels played not to lose. He didn't want to make a mistake. He didn't want to, create a situation in which, he was almost like tentative to win the game. And it's so frustrating to watch that when you see that we have the game in hand. And like, as a Raiders fan, I don't have high expectations, okay? But I expect that going into halftime with a 20-point lead, we're going to win the game.
Raiders.
Who
Who do y'all play this week?
We play the Titans.
I'm on the line. That's a must win.
That is a must win because
start off 0-3.
here's what our schedule looks like. We got the Titans this week, we got Denver next week, and then we've got the Chiefs. We lose this week, we might start off 0-5. And then the season is over. We have to win this week, and we have to win one of the next 2 weeks against Denver or against the Chiefs.
You'll beat us.
I think we have a better chance against Denver because, you're a play caller.
Hackett doesn't deserve a job, bro. He doesn't deserve a job.
I feel like for the kick.
I feel like a 12-year-old,
not even that, bro.
12-year-old on Madden could manage the clock better than he can.
Dude, there were 7 minutes left in the fourth versus the Texans, and we had 0 timeouts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I remember that. Oh,
Also, what the fuck is Russ cooking?
Dude, no, he played
Fucking ramen? Like, what is he doing?
He played so bad versus the Texans, but we paid him.
I mean, y'all paid him.
I mean, I'm not gonna complain as long as there is a W by the end of the game. So there was a W versus the Texans, but there wasn't a W versus the fucking Seahawks. I'm done talking about that shit because it's fucking just pisses me off. I don't know why you take a fucking 60-yarder for the win, but
I mean, y'all should be 2-0 right now, but at least you're not 0-2. Because 0-2 against the Texans and the Seahawks would be the most absolutely miserable way to start the season.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go happy now. You guys have been pretty mad. Listen, as a very casual Falcons fan, I've been pretty happy with how we've been playing. Obviously, we're losing, but we want to lose. I actually
Falcons has been ass though, bro.
It's not that he's been bad. He's been blocking for some reason.
Why?
I don't
He's
know.
like the best vertical threat in the NFL.
But Drake London's been insane.
Drake London's
Who's our quarterback again?
Mariota.
As actually he can rush that ball. I'm not gonna lie to you.
He's been decent.
So I picked in my Survivor League the Rams to beat the Falcons, and the Falcons almost won. Like, it was actually really close. It went down to the wire, which is stupid. I think, with like 1 minute left, we were in the end zone. It could have gotten a touchdown, but it was intercepted by a cornerback. It was like one of the best cornerbacks. I forget who it was. But I think it was Ramsey.
Ramsey, yeah.
It was Ramsey, yeah. I don't know. Overall, we played good,
Mm-hmm.
and I just hope that I survived the Survivor League. $1,000. I can get a free iPhone 14. Yeah.
And just take the Chargers to win.
I think I am taking the short,
But they gotta win without Herbert. That's the thing.
but we don't know. I mean, he's questionable.
I don't think
In other NFL news, the Bills continue to curb stomp everybody.
it's their Super Bowl to lose.
It actually is.
Patrick Mahomes is fucking Jesus Christ himself, apparently. And the Browns are 2-1.
How about the Jets, bro?
The Jets,
What a comeback.
what a comeback, man. You know what? I feel like the Jets actually have a decent roster this year.
They're decent.
They're not as bad as
Give it
years
a couple
past.
years. Give it a couple years.
Let's talk about the Giants.
That's the
2-0.
hey man.
I'm-
Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes.
Their pass game hasn't even been good.
But you know what's interesting
Their
is
pass game has not been good.
watching them this year and watching bits and pieces of their games. The difference I've seen as opposed to years past is that when they need to get a play, like when they need a third down conversion, when they need to score or get into field goal range, they're doing it. Like in years past, they would just kind of sputter out and punt the ball or throw an interception or do something that would completely kill their drive. But like this year, they're actually defensively and offensively.
Saquon's back. He's playing better.
Okay, he was good first game. Second game he was
decent,
okay.
but it's like he's been good. He's been better than last season.
Mm-hmm.
But they have no pass game. They pulled out 2 wins.
You know who's really surprised me?
What?
The Eagles.
I mean,
It's first
run
it's the
heavy
first two games.
offense.
But Jalen Hurts has looked better to start the year.
Jalen Hurts is. Dude, I've said it like the year he came into the league. I thought he would be the best quarterback in that draft class.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, he's good, bro.
Yeah, I mean, they just have a solid team all around with Dak getting hurt. I think it's their NFC East to lose. It's their division to lose. Even with the Giants being
They got a Commanders suck. Never mind.
Commanders suck.
Yeah, it's probably their division.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fuck, I'm just looking at the 0-2 teams, right? So the Bengals are 0-2. You know, that's like the
Jeremy Lin.
NFL has been weird to start the
Jeremy
year.
Lin.
Like Jeremy Lin.
Jeremy Lin.
You're saying Burrow is Jeremy Lin?
I never said that. I just said,
Jeremy.
I just said
Jeremy
Jeremy Lin. I never said anything else.
That's wild to say though.
I didn't say anything else. I just said a name.
Yeah.
How old is Burrow?
25?
Oh, I mean, it's time. Did Jeremy Lin do it like? Might be the same age, honestly.
Basketball's different than football.
No,
I mean
know.
quarterback you can play for a while, but I don't know. I think the Bengals will figure it out at some point. I don't think there's too much competition
Really?
in their division.
He's just.
Dude, it keeps squeaking. It's
I know. Stop putting it back. It's on
Dude,
me.
physically.
But no, like we're 0-2. The Raiders are 0-2, right? You know who's not 0-2? The Texans, the Jaguars,
Jets.
the Commanders, the Seahawks, and the Jets. I mean, I feel like my expectations aren't that high for us to win a game. Like just win a game. I don't know. It's the first 2 games of the season. I actually had expectations coming in this year. That was my mistake. Should have learned better to not expect anything. But yeah.
Okay.
I hate this team. I'm gonna become a Detroit Lions fan.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it. I think, I've made my digital footprint by saying I'd rather have a paraplegic on my team than our second best pass rusher, and that's gonna be on the internet forever. So
We're gonna cut it out.
hope y'all appreciated that.
Okay, so next podcast will be in a couple days. We are going to be uploading the ranking every single small forward in the league, or at least the top 35. So definitely watch that. We're hoping to finish the series out with power forward and center, but there's only a couple more weeks till the NBA season starts. But I think we should be able to get it done. If you guys enjoyed, do something about it. I don't
Something
know.
about it.
Like it. Go to our TikTok. We're gonna be actually uploading shorts and TikToks. You actually see, dude. Shorts actually pay now.
I'm telling you, and like shorts.
We gotta actually
Yeah,
do
shorts it. All right.
TikTok's
Yeah.
still poverty to
Yeah.
pay. But yeah. See ya.
I
Bye.
already